Okay, what do we got going on here? Oh no, seriously, it's happening again. What we end up having are people asking the age-old question: how can you build strength and grow your muscles, be big and strong, and which is better, free weights or machines? Now, this pops up from time to time, and as I was perusing the social media, once again, people have asked machines or free weights. And yeah, there is a plethora of answers that you will get. So somebody posted this, and what's better for toning, building muscle, whatever, strength, hypertrophy, the same thing, free weights or machines. And they mentioned cables, but that's a machine, so I'm going to lump that into the machine side of the house. And yeah, there's a lot of different comments. You'll get the comments, it's like, oh, you can do, free weights are obviously better. Some people said, either one, compound movements, those are better. Time under tension, rule for hypertrophy, free weights by a large margin are better than machines or cables. Machines don't do much. And with that, I want to get into the meat of the matter. And the meat of the matter is you will see a number of people, especially older school. I'm 57, and you'll see the old school people, kind of the older folks that kind of grew up with the Arnold Schwarzenegger and the Dave Draper and, Frank Zane and people like that, Lou Ferrigno. And you hear free weights is king. Free weights is king. And that is how you're going to build hypertrophy, strength. Just hands down, it is better than any machine on the planet. And unfortunately, that perception was made because they had a lot of free weights and they didn't have a lot of machines. And they didn't do any testing between the two. So there was no disinterested party that was like sitting back going, this is an interesting conundrum. Perhaps we should do a study on strength and hypertrophy and see which is better, machines or free weights. And we can answer this question with science. No, they didn't do that. And there weren't a lot of machines back then. I think Nautilus machines eventually came on the scene and they started getting momentum. And now you have some incredible machines, hammer strength machines. I love those things. Those are awesome. For the benefit of added safety versus free weights. And when you start benching 250 pounds, 300 pounds or more, and you get a spotter, can the guy even deadlift and hold 350 pounds? What happens if you tweak something or, Lord forbid, you let go of the bar for whatever reason, it's going to decapitate you. On a machine, the benefit is that I can have a ton of weight on there and you can push it up there and you can let it go and nothing's going to decapitate me. Nothing's going to hurt me. It'll make a loud noise. But for the person using the machine, let's say, you get a muscle cramp or, something, whatever it is, you have you faint, you go into a coma, you have a brain bleed, an aneurysm, whatever it is, whatever medical problem comes out to where you let go of the bar of a machine, you're probably going to be in a lot better condition than if you were doing free weights, doing a bench press or doing squats or deadlifts, things like that, versus a machine. So it is what it is. There are some added benefits there. But with all this, you will see people, oh, well, no. And very few people will say, well, machines are good for hypertrophy. And mostly it's the free weights that gets all the glory because that's what you see in the old videos and footage of Arnold Schwarzenegger and that, except when he's doing like cable rows or lat pull downs, that's a machine. But really, it's the old school, free weights is king and machines are lower, So those of us with free weights, we look down upon the peasants of those at Planet Fitness and the other gyms that they go to where it's just filled with nothing but machines. It's interesting reading the comments because a lot of people will say, well, this is better, that's better, this. Some say both. Some people don't really care, but they say, well, I use this, but, machines, not so much. There's actually a study that has been done showing that, there's actually tests done. And so I want to go over that information with you to show you. And this is a recent study. This study was completed and it was published on 15 August 2023. I know. This is like a groundbreaking study because not only is it an individual study, it's a meta-analysis of other studies with free weights and machines. So here's the thing. Anybody can have a study online and get it posted. But it can be flawed and, it can bring about some conclusions that, okay, but when you start getting into meta-analysis and you start having a larger participant pool with multiple studies and you look at all of those things and then you come to a conclusion based on multiple studies with a big pool of people, that holds a lot more oomph than just a lone study by itself. So this is really groundbreaking. And this is called, let's go ahead and we'll pull this up here. This is called the effect of weight training, effect of free weight and machine-based strength training on maximal strength, hypertrophy, and jump performance, a systematic review and meta-analysis. And again, this was published on 15 August 2023. So this is a recent, and there's the people that did it, and basically what they ended up doing here. Let me get past my bag of chips. But the background is the effectiveness of strength training with free weights versus machine is heavily debated, and yes, it is. Purpose of this meta-analysis was to summarize the data on the effect of free weight versus machine-based strength training on maximal jump height, and hypertrophy, which is muscle building. So they went through this and they reviewed a bunch of studies, and the studies that directly compared free weights versus machine strength-based training for a minimum of 6 weeks in adults, aged 18 to 60 years were included. So there was a total of 13 studies and, jump performance, but there was a total sample of 1,016 participants. 789 were men, 219 were women, and we get down, they talked about there was no differences found between the modalities in direct comparison of free weights versus machine strength for dynamic strength, isometric strength, countermovement jump, and hypertrophy. So the conclusion that they came to was no differences were detected in the direct comparison of strength, jump performance, and muscle hypertrophy. Current body of evidence indicates that strength changes are specific to training modality, and the choice between free weights and machines comes down to individual preferences and goals, and probably the amount of weight you can put on the machine. So if your goal is to maximize your strength and strength adaptations, the choice between free weight and machines could be based on individual preference. The principle of specificity applies, which states that you should choose the exercise you want to get stronger in. This is also important for athletes who are tested in specific exercises. Now, it says for muscle hypertrophy, one should consider individual preference when choosing between modalities. We speculate the combination could result in more complete hypertrophy. So there it is, folks. There